January 26, 1979. A small newspaper in Gifu, Japan prints a rumor. A woman, a mask, a question. 3 sentences. By summer, the entire country had lost its mind. Police were dispatched, schools were shut down, parents stopped letting their children go outside. And nobody could agree on what had actually started it. This is the story of Kuchisake-onna, and it's not the story you think it is. Before I tell you where she came from, I need to tell you why nobody actually knows. Because the further back you trace this thing, the stranger it gets. Let's start with the earliest confirmed evidence. December 1978, a farming village in Gifu Prefecture. An elderly woman walks to the outhouse in her yard. It's a separate building, late at night. She looks toward the corner of the garden. Something is standing there. Long, dark hair, mouth split open, ear to ear, like a wound that never healed. She collapses. That's it. That's your ground zero. A confused old woman, a dark garden, a bad dream, or not. A local reporter writes it up, buries it in a column. Nobody important reads it, and then the children find out. Within weeks, the story has legs. Details multiply out of nowhere. She wears a surgical mask. She asks, "Am I pretty?" You say yes. She takes off the mask. You say no. She cuts you where you stand. Scissors, or a sickle, or a kitchen knife. Depends on who is telling the story. You say yes again. She lets you go. Then follows you home and kills you in your sleep. But here's where it gets complicated. Because this story didn't start in 1978. In 1801, a Japanese artist named Hayami Shingyosai published an illustrated book. Inside it, a scene from the Yoshiwara red light district. A man grabs a courtesan's sleeve as a joke. She turns around. Her mouth is split, ear to ear. The man faints. He never returns. That's 177 years before the Gifu grandmother. So which is it? Ancient, supernatural entity, modern invention? Hold on to that question, because in a few minutes the answer reveals something genuinely disturbing. But first, let's follow the trail. 1754. A peasant uprising in Gifu. Hundreds executed. Local folklore says their spirits never left the mountains. When they pulled their bodies from the water, one skull had its mouth torn open, ear to ear. Nobody talks about that. 1975. School children in Gifu and Aichi are already whispering about her. A researcher found a man who heard the story from an older student in 1973. 1976. A late-night radio host in Nagoya mentions her on air. And then, December 1978, the grandmother, the garden, the newspaper. By March 1979, Shukan Asahi, one of Japan's biggest weekly magazines, runs a feature. By June, she's in every major publication. By summer, a report estimates 99% of Japanese children know her name. 99%. And here's the thing the Wikipedia article doesn't tell you. In June 1979, a 25-year-old woman in Himeji City dressed up as Kuchisake-onna walked through the streets with a knife, got arrested. The newspaper reported it as the end of the panic, but it was only the beginning. Here's what you need to understand about Japan in 1979. The economy is booming. Every household now has a television, a telephone, a car. For the first time in history, a rumor born in a small farming village can reach Hokkaido and Kagoshima within weeks. The infrastructure for mass hysteria has just been installed. And the media was very happy to use it. Every major weekly publication runs the story. Shukan Asahi, Shukan Shinsho, women's magazines, youth tabloids. Each one adds details. She can run 100 meters in 6 seconds. She wears a red coat. She has fox eyes, a cat's voice. None of these facts existed before the magazines invented them. Think about that. Journalists, professional adults were building the monster in real time. And the children believed it all. Schools started issuing warnings. Teachers walked students home in groups. Parent-teacher association organized street patrols. Police in Koriyama, police in Hiratsuka, group dismissals in Kushiro and Nisa. The Ministry of Education proposed countermeasures. The Ministry of Education for a ghost story. Now here's where it gets generally fascinating. Nobody could agree on who started it. Professor Ikura Yoshiyuki at Kokugakuin University, one of Japan's leading oral literature scholars, calls Kuchisake-onna probably Japan's first purely homegrown urban legend. Not a supernatural entity, not an ancient curse, a story, a very good story, that got into the water supply at exactly the right moment. And the right moment was this. In 1970s, Japan cram school industry exploded. Chuku, private after-school academies, became the norm for middle-class families. Children starting leaving school in the early afternoon and returning home alone to dark streets at 9, 10 o'clock at night. Unfamiliar neighborhoods, unfamiliar adults, hostesses heading to work, drunk businessmen heading home. The city at night was suddenly full of strangers. Kuchisake-onna was what their fear looked like with a face on it. But here's the part that should make you uncomfortable. The panic didn't spread because children are gullible. It spread because adults, teachers, parents, journalists, police validated it. When your teacher tells you to walk home in a group, when your mother tells you not to be out after dark, when the newspaper prints a feature explaining how to escape her, you don't question whether she's real. You start memorizing the escape rules. Say pomade 3 times, she freezes. Throw hard candy, she stops to pick it up. Answer so-so, she gets confused. Say there's a dog coming, she retreats. Children across Japan were carrying pockets full of Beko Ame candy, just in case. Think about that image. These weren't stupid children. They were doing exactly what every child does, looking to the adults around them to understand what's real and what isn't. And the adults, panicking, reporting, patrolling, were screaming, "This is real." Then, August 1979, schools closed for summer vacation. The rumor network between children, the cram schools, the schoolyards, the walk-home conversations went silent. And Kuchisake-onna vanished, almost overnight. Not because she was defeated, not because anyone investigated and found nothing. She vanished because the children stopped talking. The same machine that built her dismantled her. The moment the information stopped flowing, the monster ceased to exist. And that is the part that should actually scare you. Kuchisake-onna is not a Japanese story, she's a human story. The 1938 War of the Worlds radio broadcast, 500,000 Americans believed Martians were invading New Jersey. The 1990s Satanic Panic, thousands of daycare workers accused of crimes that never happened. The Dancing Plague of 1518, where hundreds of people in Strasbourg danced uncontrollably for days, some until they died. Every single one followed the same pattern: a seed, a scared person, a media amplifier, an authority figure who validates instead of investigates, and then a machine that runs itself. The question isn't how they could believe that. You've believed things like that, so have I. The question is, why does it keep working? Human beings don't process fear through logic, we process it through community. If the people around you are scared, you get scared. That's not stupidity, that's survival. For most of human history, if everyone around you was running, the correct move was to run first and ask questions later. The problem is that same wiring makes us catastrophically bad at evaluating modern information. Kuchisake-onna didn't need to be real to cause real harm. The fear was real, the patrols were real, the children too scared to walk home were real. The 25-year-old woman arrested for cosplaying a monster, that didn't exist. She was real. So what do you do with that? Notice when a story is being amplified faster than is being verified, and something spreads faster than anyone can check it. That's not a sign it's true. It's a sign someone is scared. Find what the fear is actually about. Kuchisake-onna wasn't really about a woman with a slit mouth. She was about children walking dark streets alone, about parents who felt like they lost control of their kids' safety. The monster was a costume. Find the thing wearing the costume and it loses most of its power.